So I had an email in the break from Shobi. Hi Joe, the due date for research, and the name of the assignment, in IACLE 2015 has now passed. 3 of 56 students submitted work that is ready for your review. So 3 actually got the work in on time. I didn't actually tell you what to do, but I'm just pointing out to you that Shobi feeds you emails. And at this stage, it might be useful to just take a couple of questions. And I had one, which was, if the university or the institution has a procedure for following students highlighting either problems or whatever, or feeding back stuff like that, could we use Shobi? Well, you could do, as long as you have those people added to the class in the same way as these people here. Actually, thinking about it, I haven't gone through and unblocked those people yet, but to be honest, you don't need to see it always and all the time to actually follow the process through. But if there is a system that's already in place, I'm one of those people that I don't tend to try and replace things if you're already doing it well. That's not the biggest thing about Shobi. The biggest thing about Shobi is paperless workflow, being able to drop a document to students. And that's what I'd like to focus on in a few minutes. Are there any other questions about this stuff? I'm going to put at the very end, I'm going to put one of my apps up on screen. It's free, but it's got about 12 short video tutorials on Shobi, explain everything, etc., etc. And which, if you're thinking, I'm never going to remember all of this stuff, that's why I put the app together. It's free. It didn't used to be free. It used to be 49p. Then I made it free, and it jumped from 20 downloads to 22,000. And I'm not joking. But if you say, oh, 22,000, you'd have had 22,000 49p's. No, I wouldn't have had that. It just doesn't equate like that at all. Okay, so this one's going to be a little bit interesting. Before we talk about documents, I'd like you to open up one of 2 things. You've got a choice. So the gentleman there who's got a bio, a very, very beautiful looking bio actually, that one. That is very elegant. So either open up a browser on your Vio, an actual browser, Safari, Firefox, Chrome. I find, to be honest, Chrome is an amazing browser. Or, if you have the app, Socrative Student. Ah, that one, right. Not the teacher version, Socrative. But if you want to do it in a browser, it will look a little bit like this. Okay, Socrative.com. You can open this on browser. And I'm saying a browser because obviously this is any device, and you'll get to something like that. So I'm tapping on Socrative.com. It's going to take me to that part. Okay, so this will work on any device. Okay, so while you guys are doing that, I mean, we have got about 60 of us pounding the internet right now through probably 1 or 2 access points. It may completely fall flat in its face, in which case I'll just abandon it, but we'll give it a try anyway. Okay? So I'm using the teacher app, but you can do this through your PC, through your Mac, or indeed through the teacher application. So I'm just literally signing in here. We're trying to. See, it's giving me a fair amount of grief just signing in at the moment, but we'll give it a go anyway. Okay. Now, the way this works is that Socrative, and it's gone through, yeah, it's actually warning me. Please speak to your network administrators if that's going to make anything different. Put more money in the meter. And what it allows you to do, it gives you 3 settings basically. to allow you to interact with your students. I mean, the other way we can do this, I also suspect, if you're anything like me, you're carrying at least 3 devices, and you have all of the devices on the network. Yeah, I thought so, including your laptop. So we've actually probably only got 50 devices on. We've actually probably got 200, which is probably why it's not working. But I'll abandon that. I mean, the other thing to do, but it's not going to happen, I know, not after the Apple TV thing, would be to get you to switch off the wireless on some of your devices. Consider doing that. Consider doing that. Did anybody ever see that Steve Jobs keynote where it was actually happening in one of his, and he made people police each other to switch off their devices so that his keynote would work? Did anybody ever see that keynote? It's hilarious. He was really bossy. But if it doesn't work, I mean, to be honest, you don't need 4 devices on during this, do you? You really don't. I'm going to look at this in the spirit of goodwill. I only have 1 device on the network myself, okay? Otherwise, we can't do this, and I'll just go on to something else. First rule of teaching, know your class. Second rule, have a plan B and a plan C. Always. In case you're wondering, by the way, I did want to show you one of my plan Bs. Okay? Apple TV pretty much works with Wi-Fi, as you can see, yeah? So a plan B for the Apple TV not working would be the following. So I'll just put this up on screen. Remember, my camera is a mobile camera. I'm just going to come over here and put that in front of you so you can see it. This is called a lightning to VGA dongle. Let me just hold it still. Can you see that okay? So that end goes into where your projector is, and that end goes into your iPad end, or if you've got an iPad 2, there is one with a 30 pin on it. And that literally just plugs in straight to the VGA lead that goes to your projector. If you've never done that before, you'll find it a delight, because you'll count to 4, and it automatically works, as long as your projector is switched on. I promise you, it works. There are no settings that you can access on your iPad to connect your projector. It's all automatic. If you've ever tried to connect a PC or a laptop to a projector, you'll know what I'm talking about. But you're laughing because it's hell, isn't it? And then you ring up the tech people, and they ask you if you push the F5 key, and you say you've pushed every F key there is. It just doesn't work, does it? Okay. So Shobi's not going to work. Not Shobi. Socrative isn't going to work. I'm going to give it one more go now that you've switched off your devices, but I'm suspecting this is a no-go. Okay. Essentially, it's free. It allows you to do 3 things: ask a question, and all of your answers can be single. You know, as we're talking. The difference is that I can either hide your names or show your names up on the screen. And every time I hit end, it emails me a spreadsheet of your answers, regardless of your device. Are you already using it? And what I like about it, it takes something that's semi-formal to slightly, if I want a record of what people are actually saying. I also do this thing called a test through it. You have diagrams in it, but Socrative, definitely worth using. It's completely free. That's not going to work, so I'm going to just switch that off, okay? And move to Plan D. Okay. The theme for the second part was transforming materials. And Ian tomorrow is going to talk very much along these lines with Nearpod. So I'm going to show you a transition before Nearpod, okay? Can I ask you right now, what would you say was the most common file type that you use in your teaching and lecture? PowerPoint, PDF, Keynote. Anything else? I've got PowerPoint, PDF, and Keynote. Keynote and PowerPoint are the same. Okay, they're essentially a series of slides. So may I ask you, how many of you use PowerPoint? Okay, can I ask you, how many of you do not use PowerPoint? And if you use Keynote, that's the same thing, okay? Don't use it? Okay, one person? Okay. So just consider this.
Use a different network.
Oh, okay. We'll come back to that. Thank you, Ian. I want you to consider this little demo, okay? We all know what that is. It's called Dropbox, okay? It's a free app, Android, iOS, etc., etc. So what totally went there. So I'm just logged in here, and I can see a series of files, Word documents, you know, this typical PDFs or whatever, okay? So what I'm going to do here, this is purely as a demonstration, okay? Top of the screen to the right, do you see the little square with the arrow pointing out at the top of it, which I said was Apple's secret sauce? Bad joke, but you get it. Okay, if I hit that, I want you to see, at this point, I have a number of options. One, I can airdrop it to you. Download, depending on the internet speed, and I can send it via airdrop. Number two, I could drop it into Show. So, theoretically, and let's see what the internet does. It's generating a link. I should be able to do this. That's why, hopefully, you'll see the power of Shobi here. If I now just browse to the class, okay, hit the class, tap on the assignment. There would be several assignments there. If I was to tap on Carmen's name, only Carmen gets that link. I don't want you to download it, so I'm not going to put it in there because I know you can't be trusted. For now, I just want you to see theoretically how I drop a document to you. And basically, I know a lot of teachers that work with their laptop at one point, and they're putting stuff in Dropbox, and they can then pick it up on their iPad. Now, you may say, well, why would I want to pick up my iPad if I can take it from my laptop? Well, I'll show you why. Because one of the other options was this. And this, as I said, was what makes the iPad really work. Can you see down the bottom here, the words open in? Okay, so I can go open in, and at this point, I said it's a PowerPoint or Keynote. They're interchangeable. So you can open your PowerPoint directly into Keynote. All the slides would go in. Some transitions you might lose, but essentially you are then able to do a wireless presentation from your iPad. Okay, that works. You know what that one is as well. Explain everything. So in this instance, what we have is that, I'm going to create a new project. That PowerPoint is now going to be flattened. We're going to flatten all the slides. We'll lose our jumbly text jumping across the screen to keep the student's attention. And it will just go in very much like a PDF. But everything you saw earlier, voice recording, annotations, it's all going to become available, plus the slide sorter is there. So I'll put my finger on a slide, have access to that, and now I can do the same presentation as I did before, but I can hit record. So I might have something like this. This is the Earth. In this in-depth lecture, we're going to be looking at the fact that the Earth is round. The Earth. I can then go to the next slide. Mars. Mars is round. Okay? And now, when I hit export, that movie is going to my camera roll. Was a PowerPoint, now it's a movie. If I called it a podcast, 5 years ago we'd have all lost our minds. Podcast, the answer to everything in education. And if it's in my camera roll, how about this? Okay, close that. No, go back there. Close that. You know what Shobi is? Okay. Theoretically, internet behaving itself, I'm going to create a new assignment called, I'm going to call it podcast. Okay. Or oddcast, even better. Do you know what I am? Oddcast, that'll do. And I can save that, and from my plus symbol, I can pick up that file from my camera roll, just like this. I won't do it because I don't want to test the connection too much. But at this point, I'm going to my camera roll, and I can share that movie to all of you. Bam. Was a PowerPoint, now it's become a movie, and you can watch it anytime. Useful? I hope so. So let's take that a stage further. I'll take the PowerPoint and drop it to Shobi to you. And then ask you, download that PowerPoint into Explain Everything, come to the next session with a movie where you have narrated that movie and those concepts, here are the classic words, in your own words. And then we do the airdrop thing, and then you'll do peer-to-peer marking of your teach back of what I actually delivered. And then I would ask you, anybody see an exceptional example? Well, actually, this one over here we think is better than yours. Okay, take over Apple TV and we'll actually short that and watch that. A further step, how many of you get your students to do PowerPoints? Do any of you get your students, yeah? I did. It was part of the syllabus. My first year students, did anybody ever have this experience? I would give them a session to start the PowerPoint. I'd come back an hour later to look at what they'd done, and I would see the most amazing transitions. Text, doing beautiful transitions. And I'd look at it and I would say, there's no content. The most wonderful animations, and you've got nothing to say. Well, yeah, it took a long time, but it looks good, doesn't it? Fantastic. Things I never knew PowerPoint could do. So what if I asked you as the last stage, not only to create the PowerPoint, to then put it in Explain Everything, rehearse it, write the script, let's have a look at that, and then do the whole exchange thing. Yeah? A lot of you are nodding with that experience with students. Okay. Any questions on that one with PowerPoint? What I was going to do was drop the PowerPoint to you and allow you to open it in. But to be honest, you can open a PDF, a PowerPoint, or a Keynote directly to Explain Everything. Okay?
So
yeah.
We were talking yesterday about putting lectures on.
Yes.
I know this is of interest to everybody. Yesterday we were talking about putting our lectures with voiceover onto, getting those across to the students. And I think James was describing that you put them into Adobe Presenter. So you talk over the slides in PowerPoint and then you convert them into Adobe Presenter. So could this be another way of doing that?
It's exactly that. And I'm just all for anybody that takes PowerPoint another stage further. Adobe Presenter is a great tool. The reason I use this is that if I just bring up the slides a minute, hopefully I get a good example of this. If you just pop back to this a minute, okay? You'll see that you know the bottom right-hand corner. At the top there, I've shown you Shobi, but Google have got their own paperless management system called Google Classroom. There's another one called Edmodo. And I would go with this purely because I'm just reducing the app set. So I've actually would advocate Whiteboard, which we know is on both platforms, Shobi because it's really, really simple. Out of the three, Shobi is the easiest to use out of Edmodo, etc. We'll talk about content in a minute. I want to talk about Word documents in a minute. But absolutely, you could use that. But what I do with this is I reduce it to literally 3 applications. And the reason is I've done this with many, many institutions, most academics tell me, I can cope with 3. And I don't mean that in any patronizing way. They've got X amount of time. So if you're already using Explain Everything, you might find it simpler. If Adobe Presenter gives you stuff in addition that you want, do it, absolutely. Okay, I'm just going back here because this should work. Thank you. Can you open that browser thing again? Let's see what happens. It was Socrative.com or the app. And when you get there, you should find it's asking you for a room number. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yep. So here's the room number, 511359. So go to Socrative, either the app, Socrative Student, or a browser, and it should say Student Login, 511359. That's all you need. I've already asked you a question. It will leap up on screen. It's a Windows tablet. 511359. Is that mine? Okay. 511359. Are you all getting that? Okay, it's starting to happen because people are indeed answering my question. And my question is, where have you travelled from? And please don't say Manchester if you stayed last night. I mean, which country, okay? Wow. UK's fine, city's fine. Oh, wow. Okay, now I'm totally intimidated. Who's from Norway, please? I was there 2 weeks ago in Oslo. Yeah, I'm going back again. A friend of mine teaches in Stavanger. 511. I'm going to make it into a jingle. 511359. 511359. Okay. 511359. Just out of interest, has this got the Apple password? Because I might put this up now. And it won't be on there, will it? It's okay, it's fine. It's cool, it works. It's wonderful. Wow. Henley-on-Thames, where's that one? I will be there in just a few weeks. You have the Rewind Festival there, don't you? Ever so sad. It's an 80s music festival. It's very, very sad, but who cares? I have 49 answers. That's nearly all of you. So I think you can see it works. Israel? So I've been in Tel Aviv just a few weeks as well. Now, one of the things, do you know, I don't know what this is, but you'll have to correct me. I thought Blackrod was a person, not a place. Is it a place?
Yeah.
Where is it?
It's in the hinterland between Bolton and Wigan.
Okay. Jordan, Henley, London. So I've actually got, good grief, 58 answers, okay? I can put those on the screen with Apple TV. What I'm going to do for the moment, I'm going to hit finish, and I'm going to just select an option, which is get report. Now, as I'm logged in, and I select PDF, I can select an individual report for each student, or I'm just going to hit email, okay? And that's gone to me. A report has been sent to your email address. Now, on these options I've got, I can hit quick question again, short answer. And what I'm going to do this time is a little bit different, okay? You'll see the difference. I want you to answer your preferred teaching technology. Now, what I mean by that is, if you prefer, you're an Android user, tell me. If you're really happy with the PC, tell me. If you want to be specific and say, I've got the latest, most gorgeous looking bio that I've ever seen, please tell me. I just want to know your preferred teaching piece of tech, and also your preferred teaching method, whether you use PowerPoint, whatever else you use. So take a little bit of time over it. You get a single response, but I could give you unlimited. So we could brainstorm. And you'll see the big difference is that when I hit start, you're going to be asked to give me your name. Now, don't give me your name and give me Mickey Mouse. I'm going to tell you there's actually going to be part of the reporting system. So if there were marks attributed to this, you won't get them. However funny you find Mickey Mouse, no marks, or as in Britain's case, nil point, means nothing, okay? I want your real name, yes, absolutely. And basically what I'm asking right now, from about 60 people, what's your preferred teaching device? Now, in the lecture space, consider what goes on for real. You've got 60 students in front of you. You know there've got to be varying levels of attention. If I ask you a question, or I might throw something out, as I often did with music, I try and find the most controversial or annoying piece of music I could find to get them frothing at the mouth and saying, that's not a piece of music. Feeding a bale of hay to a piano is not a piece of music. Lamont Young, minimalist composer, bale of hay, feeding a piano with a bale of hay. But it got them interested. But we do that, don't we? Try and provoke them. Right now, I could ask you to give me your answers with your hands up or just throw out your answers. But right now, I've got, well, 26 of you, 27 of you, etc., able to answer at the same time. Where if all of you just started talking at once, it would be chaos. And I'm not saying I wouldn't have discussion. I'm just saying if I want these answers and I want a record of them, it's an option. I might ask you to describe some medical terms. And I've got your answers in front of me. Now, as these answers are coming in, I've now got 41 of them. I have a tab that says show names. So somebody has named themselves IACLE. Nil point. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ian. And I've got James Wolfson. Thank you. And absolutely, I use these. I use flip charts like a maniac, especially when I do my music sessions. I like to have lots of ideas there, and then I flip on to the next idea, and at the end, students can come and take pictures of it. That's the way my brain works. Does anybody still use paper here with a pen when they want to write notes to do for the day? Does anybody write a to-do list? Yeah, I've tried doing it on my phone, and I forget what's on it. I like paper. But this is just another way of interacting with all of you. Yeah? Okay. I'm going to finish that one if you don't mind. And I'm going to ask you just one more quick question, which is far more controversial. You ready? Your name is required for this. The question, and I'd actually say this particular question is even more contentious than religion or politics. If you could choose a piece of music that you would listen to, who or what would it be? And if you can't think of one, what was the last piece of music you chose to? I don't mean putting on the radio and listening to something at random. So if the answer is none, put none. But if you have a favorite artist or piece of music, preferably it would be both, I'd like it now. Okay? You'll notice here, I would be asking, what is your opinion of X? Okay? That's what you would answer your students. This is just an example. I just like music because it's such a private, personal thing. Everybody connects in some way with this. Whether it be catharsis, piece of music that lifts you up, Well, I don't know why it is when I'm driving. I put on the most depressing music when I'm driving. I do not know why I do it. Top of the list, Mozart Requiem. Second, Allegro Miserere. I just find it great music to drive to. I do not put on rock music when I'm driving. Not with the number of points on my license, I can't. Have we all done this? Okay. Okay, we've got some generic types here, that's cool. And the reason why it's contentious and far more dangerous than politics or religion is if you question somebody's musical tastes, be prepared. That's why, because it's a personal thing, it really is. Okay? So if I was to say, for example, Coldplay, oh, I can't stand Coldplay. I like Coldplay, what do you mean by that? So, etc. Okay? So here's the interesting thing. I now can hit a little button here that says Start Vote. I'm sorry if there are some duplicates on here because I just don't have time to go through and edit the list. I want you to read the answers that the other students have given, and I want you to vote for one. That's not your own. So what I would be saying is, here is a patient, here are the symptoms. I want you to diagnose what's wrong with the patient and what you would do to treat the patient. I've just taken all your answers in, I get 7, 8 different answers. Before I hit start vote, I can actually remove some. So if some are so out of the ballpark that I can't use them, I can remove them. And then I can say, look, 5 answers, and I'm telling you, one of them is actually pretty close. Now you can vote for it. It's just another way of interchanging with students. You're saying the use operative. It's active, it's immediate, I don't have to set anything up. It's really, I'm not saying anything, I am not saying anything about the choices or the votes at the moment, because I think that's pretty contentious. Socrates, 100% free, 100% cross-platform. Whatever your students walk in with, as long as it's something, and as long as you've got fairly decent Wi-Fi. However, here's the clever thing. If you were doing this from your phone, on your mobile network, it doesn't matter. We don't have to be on the same network. How did you get to my class? 511359. And all you're doing is connecting to them via a network, data network, anything. Because the iPad that Ian gave me was on a different network. And that's how I was able to launch the class. I've got 39 out of 54 students have voted. I am very pleased to say what the winner will be in a minute. It has grown considerably, actually. Oh, yes, absolutely, yeah, I've done it with 3G. Anything that connects to a data network. No, it's cool, it's cool. But we could, yeah. Yeah, I'll tell you right now, the winner, Adele. Someone like you. She's got the most amazing voice. Second was Queen. Third was Ed Sheeran. Fourth was Taylor Swift. And then people were voting for, we had classic, then we had rock, then we had Bollywood. Michael Bublé, come on. He's right down the bottom. I mean, come on. Okay, do you see how it works, yeah? Yes, right at the back, sir.
Sure, who owns the data? Who owns the data? So you put the data in, it's a free app.
Do you mean ultimately as opposed to the teacher or the fact that it's up there?
I mean ultimately because it's up there somewhere.
Do you know, I think you would need to check the terms, but I've met the CEO Socrative. And I would, having met him, I would guess, but you need to check it, that it rests with you and the institution. I was surprised because I asked him, I said, we really love your app. He said, oh, we keep updating it. It's always going to stay free. That was his intention. It's a loss leader for another app that I'd never heard of. So I don't think they're particularly interested in using your data or anything. It's literally a loss leader. But I will say something about data protection and show you, and any of those things. One, in doubt, email them. I found Shobi, Socrative, Explain Everything. All of these people tend to be small companies, and they respond. So if you have a question, email them. And secondly, if you have any doubts, do not use it. If you're not sure, do not just go in. 25, maybe 30 years ago, 20 years ago as the internet evolved, we may have been more cavalier. Now you can't be. Thirdly, if you're really doing data sensitive stuff, consider whether this is the best platform for it. And if it's really data sensitive, that's the student's data, it should be on the university server, and I would be doing it through a different medium completely. So above all, if you're in doubt, stop, email, check. Absolutely. There is no room these days for us to have a mistake. Unfortunately, it's just the way things have changed. Okay. I am going to publish these on Facebook, though, having said that about data, because some of these are just so embarrassing. What I'm going to just show you, just briefly, is that on mine, there's just 4 buttons that I can hit quizzes, and I'm just going to pick up a quiz. Should be okay. Can I just see if that's coming up on your screens? Okay, can I just check? Yeah, you need to put in your name. This is a test. I'm just checking it's the right one. So they've changed the interface in there, and I want to just see what's coming up. Okay. There you go. That is the correct test. And what I have actually live in front of me, I can see which question you're on, whether you have the right or the wrong answer. Okay? We'll just try a little, just a few of those. It's not particularly serious. Please don't take it seriously at all. And there's just about 3 or 4 questions for you to answer. But again, those answers are against your name, and I'll be sent a spreadsheet when you've finished. Okay? It's slightly, it's pretty not serious, this quiz, okay? So please do treat it as such. I wrote this one wet Wednesday morning, and you would be advised to take note of that. Okay? So again? No, you heard what I said. I wrote this one Wednesday morning. Well, just checking you were paying attention. As I said, it's not serious. As you're doing this, I'm getting percentages of how much you've done, and I'm also seeing all your marks. Do you know what? Let's take your advice. No, we'll just jot that on screen, if you don't mind, while they're finishing it. Some people are just finishing, so that would be perfect timing. Thank you. That little quiz, you can put images in, you can have multiple choice, you can have true or false, and you can have open-ended. So it's just an example of what you could do. And it's totally free. Yeah? I mean, I don't want to name and shame or anything,
for somebody.
Thank you. No, that's perfect. Okay. And
Save the day again here.
I can hide your responses and just show you which question people are on. When I go through these, and I can see that where's Caroline Christie, or is it Christie Karen? You're logged in on 2 devices. That's okay. I wasn't leaping on you. I did see you had finished. I just wanted to point out that you had done that. Okay. And now, just so you can see what I've been doing here, if I hit finish, I can get reports. Okay. Get reports. And now you can see I can have individual student PDF, question-specific PDF. I can download it to my iPad, or I can just hit email, and now it'll say a report has been sent to your email address. Yeah, and that's Socrative. The one at the bottom left, I've never used in HE. It's a space race, and all that does is you pick up the same quiz, and for every right answer, your rocket ship goes faster across the screen. Right? I've used this with 16-year-olds. You know, 16-year-olds that are so cool that they don't show how excited they are? Mayhem! I've used this with teachers. They absolutely love it. So the space race is a lot of fun. Okay? I'm going to ask to put that back together again, if I may. Go back to the layout. So I'll leave it there while we get that changed back over. And that's Socrative. It's so useful. I know one gentleman said he was using it. Is anybody else using it? Okay, hopefully that's useful. Okay, so what I want to talk about now is Word. Okay? Word and Pages. And the good thing, iPads are really well built. Thank you. Okay, and this is purely as a demo, if you don't mind watching this, okay? So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Dropbox, but I could just as easily be going to Google Drive, okay? And I have here, oops, there we go, let's go for that one. There's a document, it's just a Word document, okay? So we know from that icon, I could send it to you all in Showing, which I'm going to attempt to do. It's not a big document, but I did want to do this to give you the chance to have a go at this, okay? So, if you don't mind staying off the internet for a minute, I will attempt to drop that to you before going to the next stage, okay? So, whilst I do this particular demo, okay, I'm going to put it into research. I'll put it into share so everybody gets it. Don't look yet. Wait for internet. And I'll show you what you would do with it, okay? When you tap on it, open it up in Safari and you'll get a document. Just hang on for a sec, okay? This is what I'm going to give you a go at doing. So if you don't mind just watching the demo for the moment, I'm going to hit that and I'm going to select this open in that I mentioned before, and I'm going to open it into Pages, okay? So that's going to give me a Word document that's in Pages, meaning I can edit it, okay? No big deal there. I can edit the fonts, I can change what's going on. Now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go in here, and I'm going to tap on the plus here. And I'm going to go into my camera roll, okay, and pick up an image. So if I pick up an image that you should recognize, there we are, okay. Okay so far? Now I'm going to resize this image by putting my finger on here and just drag it in. And I'm just going to move the picture through the words. And I know what you're thinking right now. I wish Word did that. And again, I'm not here to have a go at Word. We've been using Word successfully for 20 odd years. But it always got me, why when I put a picture into Word did everything go mad? If I put my thumb and finger on this, look, it will rotate, so I'm not looking at any special commands. Okay? And it's just so tactile. Now, with the picture selected, this paintbrush here gives me stylistically things like that, style options, borders, all the things you would expect from a document, okay? Let's go into this page a minute and do the same sort of thing, okay? This time, I'm going to pick up this image here, okay? Possibly not the best choice, actually. Let me just go back. It's not the one I wanted. I have got one of Jupiter in here, but it's way back in the camera roll. Let's see if I can get it. Here we go. And have you ever picked up an image? No, that could be interesting if I do that one. Have you ever picked up an image? Let's try that one, okay? And the image has got a border around it. Can you see that white border? Yeah? So white on black, black on white. One of the things that you can do, and you can do this on the Mac, but it's really nice on the iPad. See this instant alpha? I can put my finger on the white border, okay? Can you see that? That's not making that border transparent. Can you see that? It's disappeared. If I do that with a black image, says he, that will probably be even better. Probably got one here that's going to work quite effectively like that, okay? So if I want to take away all that red, I go into, go into here, and go into, that's interesting that it's taken it away. Never seen that before. That's interesting. It's recent. Oh, can you see what it is? I put a movie in. My apologies. That's actually spoiling what's going to happen in a minute. I don't want to put a movie in. I just want to put an image in with a lot of dark stuff around it. That will do for now. There we go. So you can actually select this, and if I select Instant Alpha, I can start to take away. Can you see? Can you see what I'm doing? I'm taking away the color, and now I'm being left with, in fact, I can still carry on. I'll take Instant Alpha. I'll take away all this stuff around the outside. Can you see it disappearing? Without me going into Photoshop, now I've got that. Can you see that? That's just called Instant Alpha. And it just gives you so much scope for working with your media. Keynote has got the same thing. It's just called Instant Alpha. Yeah? I'm in Pages. On iPad or Mac, they both have got Instant Alpha. Exactly. If I didn't make that clear earlier, I see it again now. Pages is Apple's equivalent of Word. And the next thing I'm about to say, it depends on when you started using iPad. As of 18 months ago, Pages is a free app. Okay? Free on iPad. I don't think it's free on Mac. Okay?
I think once you download it, you can download it to all your devices. You don't think you don't pay for it.
Oh, I see. Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah. So I gave the game away a few minutes ago by going in here, and I'm going to insert a movie, okay? Is everybody okay with this? Okay. Can you watch what happens when I add the movie? Okay. Before I do, can you see on the bottom right in all my media there, the movie that says 28 seconds on it? Where did that movie come from? Okay, I'm getting 3 answers and they're all correct. I had Dropbox, explain everything, and what kind of file was it originally? PowerPoint or Keynote. So I'm now inserting, look, use. I'm now inserting a movie that I made from my own PowerPoint into my own Word document, which is now becoming multimedia. And that's what Ian and I were discussing as being transforming your learning materials. Instead of distributing just a Word document with a lot of text, I'm now hopefully putting in meaningful media. Okay? Now I would urge you to watch the next stage very, very carefully, okay? Are you okay at the back there? Yeah? I want to send it to my students. What do I do? Right? Share. Please watch this. If you've not seen this before, this is quite important, okay? Step me through it. Yeah. Open in another app, which again was Apple's thing about the way the iPad works, and I'm hoping that's the bit you're going to like. Consider this. If I drop your Pages document, the movie will play if you open it back in Pages. Your students can open it on an iPad, an iPhone, and a Mac. Bottom left, if I send you a Word document, the movie will not play. It will flatten. It will just become an image. Or you'll have images and text, and your students can open it on Windows tablet, any Windows machine that's running Word. Okay? Again, I could do this via Shobi. Consider the two I haven't mentioned yet. PDF. What would be the point of the PDF when I put movie in it? Because the movie's going to flatten, but there is a point. I've been doing this workshop with quite a few universities, and they say to me, we may do all three. Because our students are walking around with Android, phones. We've got BYOD. Bring your own disaster. And I'm sorry, it is, because it's bring your own disaster for the tech support, that they've got to manage multiple devices, all with different platforms, different ways of accessing the internet. But we don't have any choice in that, do we? As lecturers, we don't actually get really to decide when that big decision is made. So if your students are walking around with multiple devices, if you give them that one, the one thing you know, everybody can read PDFs. But I want you to focus on the bottom one, bottom right, because I honestly believe that is really transformational. Okay, and I'll show you why. Okay, you don't mind watching for a sec? I can name it, do all that stuff. You don't need to see that. I'm going to send this book in the first instance, okay? And I'm just going to drop it. Please don't, if you don't mind for a moment, please don't access the internet. We'll come to this in a minute. I'm going to hopefully leave time for this in the next minute, okay? I just want to show you why I really like using EPUB with my students, okay? So I'm going to drop it in there. Please don't go off to it yet, you don't need to. Okay, I'm going to do it into here and into the shared folder for in a few minutes' time. There we go. And I'm just going to hit add file. Let's just give that time to upload, okay? While it's uploading, I'm going to tell you about the second bit. Yep, it's going. What I'm going to do, I'm going to demonstrate opening that file into Ibooks. Now, Ibooks is a free app on your iPhone and your iPad. On your Android devices, they will have the equivalent of an EPUB reader, but depending on that EPUB reader is whether the movie will play or not. Okay? So there are Android EPUB readers that will play the movie. It will also play as an EPUB and be readable on a Mac. It will also be readable as an EPUB on a PC. But depending on which app you use, like Calibre or something like that, which depends on whether the movie will play. Okay? Did you do it?
Yeah, it's done.
Good. Please don't go off and access this. I want you to watch the demo and see what you think of this, okay? I'm going through this again, but notice what I'm doing. I'm opening it straight on my iPad into Ibooks. I want to show you what can be done, okay? So, first of all, I only tapped Ibooks once. Look what's happening. There's the book. As I go through, the book behaves like a book, not particularly well put together, but you get the idea. Top right-hand corner, I can bookmark my pages, and I have a search engine. So if I type in the word Jupiter correctly, it helps, and hit search, every reference, I mean, it's all about Jupiter, there's going to be a lot of them, but every reference to Jupiter is in there, okay? So my document is 1, searchable. 2, if I tap on that, I go there. Oh, the Romans named the planet after the Roman, okay. When you photocopy documents, do you still do that? Okay. And you hand them out to students and you say, that paragraph, really important. So what do? Take out the highlighter. I'm going to put it on the word there and wait and drag it down. You get a built-in highlighter on what was a Word document. When I tap on it, I can change the color. And I can now insert a note that says, this is in the exam. Okay, something like that. This is in the exam. Okay, so I've now got my notes can be added to what was a Word document. Okay, let's just go through a little bit more and take this section here. It's not a very well laid out document, but I'll just color code this one and say point number 2. Blood circulation does this, that, and the other, whatever. And then, you know, I'll just pop back here a little bit, just find another page, just to illustrate my point. I could have done a slightly longer document. All right, right at the end then, okay? And I'll just mark that one up. Now, research has shown that when students highlight these documents, they revisit the first couple of pages. Very rarely will they go throughout 20, 30 pages of document. But I want you to see on the top left there, you see that? That's my index. There's the bookmark page, but I want you to see what happens when I type on notes. So your Word document has become a referenceable, is that a real word? I just made it up anyway. And more importantly, when I tap on each of those notes, I jump there. And that's really useful. The video will play, and it will jump to full screen. And I can set it straight to AirPlay if I want to. I've taken it off there so you can hear my commentary. Okay? And that was hopefully contextually valid podcast that I've now embedded into that document.
Did you say the movie would go full screen there, Joe?
It would do, but I put it onto audio. It would have let full screen if I wanted it to. Yeah. It says it's on that. Oh, sorry, here we go. Give it a sec to stream. Okay? You won't hear the audio, but it will play. Okay, we should see, yeah, I knew it, Mars is round. So, I learned that bit. Just let them come back, Apple TV, yeah, we go. Here's another thing. If you're asking your students to read for, extract the relevant bits of information, can you see top right-hand corner? I mean, you must be getting fed up with it now. It's a square with an arrow, okay? If I hit that and edit the notes, I might say to you, please go through this document, and I want references to this, 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 and this. Highlight references to blood in blue. Highlight references to heart in green. And then email me the sections you think are most important. And not only are they put into my email, but they're highlighted by color. Now, this is where I get on my soapbox a little bit. I hope that particular example has shown you from Word document and text to multimedia interactive resource. I could have just left that Pages document as text and added a few pictures. But we've been doing text and pictures for 20 years. Now the document is interactive, now it's got video in it. And my belief is if the technology is not easily adding a layer of pedagogical experience and getting my students into my lessons, then we might as well stick with the old technology. And if we're not moving from what I call substitutional, because that's what Pages is. If you just leave it as a Word document with text, that's substitution. If you're not moving to transformational, which is what that is, we're wasting our time and our money. I have friends who are Android users, and they tell me they can do that. But when they go to do it and demonstrate it, I've never seen it as smoothly. It's not that it's not going to happen. I'm simply telling you that icon at the top right there, that really is the thing that I just love about Apple technology. Obviously, Apple updates things. Sometimes things get broken. We went through a period where that movie thing didn't work for 2 weeks. I have no idea why, and then it came back, okay? It's not always flawless. I mean, let's be honest about it. But it enables you to do the most amazing things with your existing materials. I think we all agreed that Word and PowerPoint were the most common. Yeah? One of the things that I was being asked as we moved to coffee earlier was this. I'm not sure what's going on here. Let me just do a quick refresh. Because I'm back into Shobi, by the way, at the moment. One of the things I demonstrated was that in Shobi, you can select an image or a PDF, and so can your students, and you can write directly on them. So you can annotate them. Call it a worksheet, call it a diagram, but that makes it very great for interactive lessons, basically. I'm just noticing it is, I'm in the wrong one. It is actually, oh, here it comes. There we go. I might be able to do this. Right, if I just pop into this and just do you a quick demonstration, hopefully I'll show you how to download that Pages document and you can have a go. Right, here's the picture that I uploaded earlier, okay? All I was showing just before coffee was that you can write on the images, you can annotate them with text. Here's some feedback. Your students can do it, and they can litter their PDFs or their diagrams with meaningful text in context. Okay. Before we try to do this little EPUB exercise, there's a natural lull there. Are there any questions about what I was doing with Word and Pages? I'm pretty certain. Pretty certain I've included this tutorial in here. There we go. Pages, from Dropbox to Pages, okay? If you want the name of the free app with all this stuff in it, it's called Teaching with ICT. Teaching with ICT. It's only on iPad. You won't find it on iPhone. And it's most certainly not available on Android because it's all to do with iPad there, okay? ICT, yeah, as into information communication technology. Just tap that into your iPad when you're searching on the App Store and you'll find it, and it's free. Teaching with ICT, it's only on iPad, okay? Any questions before you go on to the next bit? Yeah.
Right back to the start, you were mentioning when you could make iPad project onto a projector like you're doing. You said you could do it through an Apple TV. Can you mention some of the software
Yeah.
that you can install on YouTube?
Let me just check that. Your question is absolutely perfectly placed. Within my app, you'll see movies, and then you'll see some documents. And I've done a PDF in here called Wireless Mirroring with Apple TV, and then I've done wireless mirroring with Reflector, X-Mirage, and Air Server, and they're all listed in there, not only links to them, but also how to do it. Okay? Any other questions? You know, I'm really kind of tentative about trying to get you all to download a Pages document and put it into Pages, because I think it could be a long wait. So I'm going to jump to the next section. I mean, we can try it, but I think it would be.
We're on a slightly faster network than
Okay.
you're on at the moment.
Do you know what?
so
Let's give it a go.
Give it a go.
Open it. You need it on your iPad. Open up Shobi. We'll give it a go. But I have a plan D, just in case. Oh, I know what I've done. I've given you the EPUB, haven't I? I've actually circumvented that. It might actually just work straight this way. You should be able to see in here, there's your class, and then you'll see the two assignments. You go into research, and then you should see top something like Jupiter 2. Sounds like a movie, doesn't it? Tap on Jupiter 2 so that you get this effect. Okay? Yeah, let's do it this way. I'm actually going to go for this way, actually. I think it's going to be better. We'll see how the speed goes, okay? Oh, yours is going much faster than mine. Not that I'm competitive or anything. No, that's the picture. Go back, hit done. That's why it was fast, because it was just a picture. Get that to refresh it. Tap on Jupiter 2. What we're doing when we're tapping on Jupiter 2, we're all accessing the EPUB file, and you'll get a little share thing. You tap on share and select open in Ibooks. Okay? I'm circumventing the working in Pages thing. Can I say one thing about this stuff that I put up there? I know it's pretty rough and ready, but after today, I won't be deleting this class. So if you want to access that Pages document, that EPUB file, anywhere there's internet, Starbucks, McDonald's, Asda, you know, amazing, our supermarkets over here have got better Wi-Fi than some people have at home, okay? So you can log in on the student account and you'll be able to access it. I did approve all the teacher accounts as well, by the way, so you should be able to see it too.
Oh.
On the cloud, no, it doesn't store it until you hit that. Okay? There's a very good question I just had from the lady on the third row here. This is her question. She said, if I look at that file, like I'm doing now, when it comes up, and I then go and do something else, Facebook, online shopping, whatever, when I come back, I've got to do this again. Yes. Shobi is on the cloud, and it's storing that document for you and for your students. Can I get your attention for this one, because this is a really big point, please? If you get your students to send their files up to Shobi, they have limitless storage. Not 2 gigabytes of Dropbox, limitless. The only thing that is actually limited on the free account is uploading movies more than a minute. And I think each file can be no more than 500 meg. That's pretty big for each file. So if you get your students to upload their documents there, to just back them up, if anything happens to this, they've backed up their work. Anybody ever lose a USB stick, hard drive? Then you know, or had a trashed hard drive. I have, I've lost 3 years of work. Seriously. And that's disaster. So I had a student say to me at Manchester Medical, hold on a minute, we can create student groups on Shobi for free and upload all our files there and just keep them there. And if we want anybody to see the same files as a shared collaborative group, it costs us nothing. Correct. Previously, they were using Facebook groups and uploading documents to Facebook. Yeah, you've got students doing that. Shobi's limitless, and it's really secure. Amazon servers. Anyway, that doesn't look much like a book, does it? You tap on share, and you open it directly into Ibooks. Can I advise some of you? Use your iPad in landscape. It's the best way, especially in Shobi. Most apps are set to kind of maximize the experience in landscape. And when you do that, it'll go straight into Ibooks, try to mark up some of the notes, have a look at the movie, try it out. And if you've logged in on a Mac, you can open it into Ibooks on a Mac. Okay? If you are a PC user, you will need an EPUB reading tool. You've set your preferences differently. I'm distributing what was a Word document via a free medium and enhanced it with a movie I made and explain everything. Can I ask you, particularly if you're using iPads, are any of you considering that the next time you ask a student to submit a piece of interim work, so I don't mean the final essays that we put in through Turnitin, would it not be quite a cool project to ask them to write the document in pages, create some movies to go along with that, and explain everything, maybe using slides that they put together, create a multimedia EPUB, and bring it to the next lecture, or the next seminar, rather than just a PowerPoint. By all means do that, but extend the activity. Now get them to use their PowerPoint and explain everything with their own voiceover, which means they will have to write a script, which means they're going to have to consider what they say. The great thing about explain everything, it allows them to rehearse. Create that movie and bring it in, and then use peer-to-peer work to consider how effective that piece of work is. Okay? Is that all right? Okay. This last one is also in the app. I'm going to show you this, but you won't remember the steps. So I've created a tutorial movie about it. I'm just going to show you it so you'll know what to look for, okay? There is an application called iFiles. It's not free. We didn't push it out to you. I just kept this in reserve if I had a bit of time to show you it. A tutorial exists on there, and if you read what I read between the lines, accessing multiple cloud storage accounts and YouTube clips. Okay, let me show you this. So one of the richest resources we can use, and the students use it more than they use TV anymore, is YouTube. Yeah? In England, we even have crazy programs that we actually show the best of YouTube. Slightly insane, but there we are. So what you can see here is that I can set up multiple Dropbox accounts. Does anybody else here have more than one Dropbox account? Yeah? So you can access them, set them all up, just go into Dropbox, sign in, and when you've done that, you can access them all from one place. And then put your finger on a file and move it to another place. Yeah? So iFiles allows you to have multiple cloud-based accounts in one place, and you can sign into them all. Brilliant. It will also allow you to Bluetooth from one iPad 2 to another iPad 2 via Bluetooth, as long as they both have iFiles. So when you couldn't do the AirDrop thing, iFiles will allow you to do it. You literally do something like this. You put your finger on it, hit the word share. That's copy because I'm in the wrong place. I'll try and go into the right place and then demonstrate it. There's an MP4 file, that's 17 meg. But you can hear the word share there, in there. And I can actually Bluetooth that via Bluetooth to any other iPad, or if I switch iFiles on my phone, just had a text message from my mother in Johannesburg. She's watching. Hi, Mum. Sent her the link. Can you see? People with iFiles are actually opening that, and I could share that. So you don't have to have AirDrop. If you've got an older iPad, iFiles will give you that. If you want a free solution to AirDrop, InstaShare. It's a free app that will allow you to Bluetooth between any iPad, but they both must have the free app. Okay. Where we are now, can you see bottom left-hand corner, the globe? Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to browse the internet, and I'm going to put into the URL a rather famous URL. Yeah, I'm sure you all know this one. And the interesting thing about this is that even when some firewalls are set to block YouTube, I find that this works. Now, I will obviously only use this to access and download copyright-free video material. And in doing so, I would only use copyright-free material, and there's a lot of it on there. However, you can download and access almost anything. I would look to you to be sensible as you do this. I'm going to tap on search, and I'm going to put in here Pythagoras. Okay, I'll even try and spell it right, because that really helps on a search engine. Okay, and I'm going to put in a file that I know is copyright free, but also it's quite small. So there it is. Now, why would I want to do this? Well, it's not such a big issue with undergraduates, 18-year-olds plus. But I don't know if you've ever put YouTube up and all of a sudden Miley Cyrus comes up on screen. You don't really want this in a lecture space, and you certainly don't want it in primary school, because you can't control the front page of YouTube. So what I can do now is I can hit or tap on that YouTube clip, and it will start to stream to my iPad. Okay? Once that's happening, can you see the top left-hand corner? It's a little bit changed, but it's essentially a box with an arrow. Have a look at the entries in there and look at number 4. Yes. Why would I want to do that? Well, for the reasons I just explained. I don't want the YouTube front page coming up, but also if I'm going to a place where the Wi-Fi is either non-existent or appalling, if I download that clip as such, hit save video. Can you see it downloading at the top there? That's video playback 17. It's the 17th time I've used that recently. Once I've got it offline, I can just connect to my VGA projector and it will just play from my iPad. So let's see where it goes. I'm going to tap on the home icon top right to go back here, and I'm looking to first of all refresh the list, and I'm looking for video playback 17. There it is. You see that MP4 file? Now, if you were thinking on this demo, crumbs, that's a lot of steps. That's why I created a tutorial movie for it. I go through all these steps in about 3 minutes, so you can follow it through. But essentially, what I will now do is hit edit and send that video to my camera roll. Once it's in my camera roll, I'm not sure about that file. It looks actually like it was corrupted. I hope it's okay. Just click done. Yep, there it is. I can now play that offline. No internet is involved, and I can just play that to the group. Okay? If you haven't seen it, it's just a great video where the square on the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides. Dun, 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 dun. I know if I made one of those, I'd end up with water everywhere. Great video. I've got that to play offline, but I could also, with copyright-free material, embed it in my Pages document, or I could use a free app called iMovie and edit out and just have the sections I want. Because some videos will be 20 minutes, and you think, I want this 3 minutes, they're perfect. So YouTube to iPad, iFiles is brilliant at it. And what a lot of people usually say to me at this point is, I use YouTube Downloader, or there's many of them. Well, iFiles came out just after iPad 1. And I've been able to do that for 4 years. And I think it's because in its write-up on the App Store, it does not say, maybe I'll turn off the camera at this point, it does not say you can download YouTube clips for Apple to remove it. It's a little secret feature I'm showing you, but it's really useful. Because there's stuff on YouTube that you just cannot find anywhere. I watched some bits of jazz, John Coltrane from the late 50s and things. The only time you'd ever get to see that over here would be 4 o'clock in the morning on BBC Two when nobody's awake. So you can find amazing stuff on YouTube. I noticed nobody voted for John Coltrane on the Socrates thing. I was very disappointed. That's right. With that demo I did there is an iFiles demo, and you'll find a video explaining all of that stuff in that free app there. Unfortunately, you'll have to, we've muted it so you won't hear my voice now, with just me going on about it again. Okay? It takes you through all of that for that reason. So, to summarize, or to finish, I hope that has shown you useful tools for taking your existing materials and changing them hugely. PowerPoint to video, Word document to multimedia electronic book. The first session about changing the learning space with things like Socrates, Shobi as a paperless distribution tool, AirDrop for just sharing files between students without internet if needed, and has hopefully given you some things to think about for your own institutions. That is my email. Please feel free to email me any question on this or something I covered too quickly. But I just wanted to leave, I like to leave 5 minutes at the end for questions. Any questions at all about your own specific institutions or anything that wasn't clear? Yes?
So can you, I made a few documents in pages before, I didn't know really how to use it, so I would like to take that into the book, so it's different files. I'm trying to actually merge them, but I can't even export here, so I'm not really...
No. So the question is, when working with Pages documents, there's several things you can do here. You can put your finger on a file and move it on there. That's not going to merge them. All that's going to do is create a folder of those two documents which I can name. So I might call that thesis. Okay? So that's just the two documents are in there. If I select a document like this, didn't really mean to do that. We're just going to undo it. Just as well, it's quite a rubbish document. Your question is actually merging the two documents. And I don't think you can do that. I can go in here, put my finger on a word, yeah, and do the whole select all, copy and paste. So I'm not aware of a merge facility between actual Pages documents. Yes.
When you're on YouTube and you do find something that you'd like to use, how do you know? Is there a little trick that tells you it's copyrighted?
You know, I don't know. The question is, how do I know something's copyright free on YouTube? There are certain things when you look at movies, promotional videos, etc. You'll also find, if you're in doubt, the actual account, you just click on the person's name and you can directly message them. Or in some cases, and I've been amazed at this, I've been able to use screenshots, and I also do a lot of coding, programming workshops. Anybody ever come across a game called Broken Sword? It's an amazing game. I just emailed them and said, can I use clips from this? And he said, yes, do whatever you like. It's in an educational context and you're not selling it. His name's Charles Cecil. So I got an immediate reply from the CEO. You'd be amazed at the number of people that would say yes to education, just ask. I am constantly amazed that people really were quite open about that. But best to check first these days, isn't it? Any other questions? Yes. Thank you. We have a microphone for you.
Hi Joe, this is Runa from India. I would like to ask you that for preparing notes, mainly for the students, out of all the tools that you have shown us, which one is do you think is more effective for the students to make their notes and class notes and prepare like that?
You don't know how difficult that question is. It really is a difficult question. So the question was the most effective app or tool for making notes. Having spent far too much on different apps, try them out. Popular ones are Notability, because Notability allows you to do handwriting straight into it, record your voice straight into it. So that's a pretty affordable option. My actual preferred choice when it comes to it, even though I have Notability, is I use Notes. It's free. It will also allow you to tap and hold your finger on it. And now, can you see that? You can insert a photo into Notes. What I have found is when you airdrop them from one iPad to another, it seems to lose the photo. But just for myself, that one's really, really simple. Evernote has been very popular.
Yes.
Because you can have shared. I good feeling Phil's kind of keen on that one. With Evernote, the really cool thing about Evernote is you can have collaborative books. You share your books that way. And I actually, thinking about it, even traveling here today, that is synchronized to that, which is synchronized to my Mac. So I do, I didn't really think about it. I use Evernote literally every day. There's a free version and there's a paid version, but yeah. And why are you so keen? You use it and with your students.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
We talked a bit about Evernote yesterday, so although that wasn't fixed, it was wonderful that you mentioned it.
Well, that I got the right answer, you mean?
But I think actually, I still am not sure how to best advise students as to what to do when they come to my lectures. I think it's difficult. I guess a lot of people make available slide captions ahead of the lectures, but exactly what students should do with those, or print them off, or bring them electronically and annotate them, in which case using what software, tablet, laptop or whatever, I'm still not sure what the answer is, and I suspect it's quite individual to the student concerned.
And also at that age, you would expect them to be developing strategies of their own. And I would like to say something about these strategies. They're not prescriptive. The reason why I've developed them is that I'm constantly amazed at the number of institutions that don't have a strategy. And because they don't have a strategy, we have so many things going on. Some examples of great usage of technology and some very poor examples, which means the students have a different experience depending on which lecturer they're with. So I think trying to establish a baseline, which you are more than welcome to embellish, build on, improve, great. So when somebody says to me, I've got an amazing app, this is just so much fun. It's called The Chemist. My wife's daughter is doing chemical engineering at Imperial. I'm just saying that to show off because I think it's so amazing. But she had a look at this app and she said, well, so was wrong with it, that was wrong with it, etc. But she generally gave it a thumbs up for being able to take materials and actually start playing with chemistry safely. And she actually said, well, and got the whole thing to explode. So having specialist apps, absolutely. And she said, not sure about that. I wouldn't do the equation just like that. You ever work with scientists? They're so pedantic. But she said, you know, that is a great way to be able to play with that. And you will find subject-specific apps that are amazing. I just didn't want to do that specifically today. I really wanted to make the point that I don't see enough of that. I'll come back up on screen in a minute. Yeah? I think it's really essential for the institution and the students. Yeah.
So Joe, just following on from over here, just following on a little bit from what Phil was saying, because we hand out, when we're giving lectures, we'll hand out our PowerPoints on a PDF. Is there an app they can use on an iPad to access those and actually write notes all over them?
Perfect timing, because tomorrow Ian is going to do Nearpod with you, and I'll say one thing without spoiling, stealing his thunder. One of the things that used to really irritate me was I used to photocopy out, you know, the summary sheets from PowerPoint you can do with all the slides on it, give them out to the students, beg them to read them, and I had no way of knowing. I guess you're going to cover homework mode, which means the students have to log in to watch those, see those slides, and there's interactivity and questions. So it means you know, has a student logged in, viewed those slides, downloaded the PDF if you've embedded one, and answered questions on it. And you can write notes. So Ian's going to cover that in detail tomorrow. Yeah, those tools are becoming available. And all of that can start with a PowerPoint. I'm going to say no more about it, because I know you're doing it in detail tomorrow, Ian. Yes?
You just told us about iFile. When I go to the App Store, I have a lot of iFile apps. Which one's the best?
Okay, I'll just show you that. At the beginning of the day, when you first browse the store, it can be a little bit slow because it just refreshes all the latest favorites and everything. Okay. Great. It's like every other day when you go there. Let's just put an S on that. There it is, top left. iFiles with an S. It's strange, it's got 3 little people on it, but it's that one on the top left. Okay. I know this sounds like I'm sort of lecturing on this, but do update your apps, because the developers are constantly fixing bugs and things. Yeah. I tried to keep mine on there. Mine's on 54. That's because so many people say you've got to look at this app, so I do. Okay, any other questions? So I'd like to say, back away from the speaker. Thank you very much for giving me your time this morning. I hope it's been useful. If there's anything else you want to follow up with, please do email me or email through Phil. And it's been a pleasure talking with you this morning. Thanks very much for your time.